And we're live. Hey team, welcome back to another episode of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. And today is Valentine's Day 2022, February 14th, the day after the Super Bowl. Obviously, you know where we're going to get started here. Last week, there wasn't really much going on. Everyone was getting ready for the Super Bowl. There weren't really any big narratives. We were super excited to have Matt Stafford and Joe Burrow in there. Two good dudes, you know? Like, you want to root for them. Over the past, I want to say, number of years, whatever, over the past 6-7 years, there's always been a narrative. There's always been a good guy and a bad guy. For the most part, it's been Tom Brady, obviously. I mean, most people, I'd say, like, you have the Tom Brady fans, some in San Francisco, because that's where he's from. And then in New England, and then in recent years, the Tampa Bay fans rooting for Tom Brady, and the rest of the U.S. is rooting for the other team. We saw it last year with Patrick Mahomes. Everyone's rooting for good guy Patrick Mahomes, up-and-coming star, against evil Tom Brady, the corporation, the big Brady brand. A couple years ago, when Tom Brady was against the Rams, same thing happened there. Jared Goff, the young up-and-coming Jared Goff against evil Tom Brady. Same thing with Nick Foles. Everyone was rooting for Philadelphia that year. The underdog kid, the guy who just took over in the playoffs and took them to a championship. The year before that, when the Falcons were playing against Tom Brady, seemed like the whole world, including us, obviously, were rooting for the Falcons, and everyone against Tom Brady. Before that, we also had Cam Newton against good guy Peyton Manning. Cam Newton, the arrogant Superman. But this year, back to getting on point, we had good guy Matt Stafford, who'd been in a just terrible situation for his entire NFL career. 12 years in Detroit, lost, not won a single playoff game. He went to 3 playoff games, lost them all. In for lack of a better way of putting it, in an organization that failed by him, that did not put the right pieces around him. And he was able to go in the first year outside of Detroit to LA and get himself to a Super Bowl with his team. Obviously, it wasn't all him. You can't put it all on Matt Stafford. And that's the whole thing. If it was all on Matt Stafford, then he would have done more in Detroit. But a team, and I say this on one side and I know what I'm getting at on the other side, a team cannot solely 100% rely on its quarterback. He needs to have pieces around him. I mean, he can't play defense, He can't. Without Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and Von Miller playing, there's nothing he can do. Without Sean McVay, I mean, having an astounding head coach matters greatly. It matters so much. And having the organizational stability to put your arms around this guy. So leading up to the game, Matt Stafford, I feel like a lot of people were rooting for him, and there was a lot of people rooting for Joe Burrow as well. I was personally rooting for Matt Stafford just because, 12 years in the league, again, and here's his first time. He beat Tom Brady. He beat divisional rival San Francisco, who beat them the last 6 times in a row. Oof. And they were the 4th seed. Just the narrative of him getting to the Super Bowl, it's unbeatable. It's like a storybook ending, if you may. There's all this talk now, is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer? Come on, it's too early for that. Let's not even cross that bridge. I'm not even going to bother with that. But on the other side, Joe Burrow, and I know on the Matt Stafford side, I said a team cannot solely rely on its quarterback. Well, the other side gives you as close as you can get to a team just succeeding with a quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of pieces on that team, and they do need work to get to try to get back to the Super Bowl next year. But during that game last night, that defensive line for Cincinnati was outstanding. I did not expect them to play so well. They got to Matt Stafford in that second, third quarter, and they were making it hard for him. I mean, Matt Stafford threw 2 interceptions. One was deflected, and it went into the defender's hand. Still counts as an interception against him, unfortunately. But the other one was an interception. But Joe Burrow, wow. I mean, you got to give them a round of applause for getting to where they got to. And I know they don't care about that. That's not what they want to hear. But for being his second year in the NFL, his first full season in the NFL, getting to the Super Bowl is amazing. And not just like as a fluke. Obviously, you can say that there was a little bit of flukiness because Lamar Jackson was injured for half the season. Ben Roethlisberger is old, and the Browns fell apart, who were supposed to win the division. But they still beat the Ravens twice. They still beat the Steelers twice. They beat the Browns once. They rocked that division. They also beat Patrick Mahomes twice, once regular season and once in the playoffs, as we saw. They beat the number 1 seeded Tennessee Titans, who were on fire somehow, who also beat the Rams earlier in the season. Now, I don't really want to get into that too much, but I do want to say the Titans did play very opportunistic football. Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach. He knows how to play against. He knows what the weaknesses of the other teams are, and he exploited them. That's exactly why they were able to beat the Rams. They capitalized on a couple interceptions, couple turnovers, and they scored. Their defensive line is good, which is why they sacked Joe Burrow so many times. I actually had a bet that Joe Burrow would get sacked 5 times or more in this game, and he got 7. He had 7 sacks, which there was one hit where I didn't think he was going to come back from, but it's a Super Bowl. He had to come back. If you're not going to play this game, when are you going to play? You're not playing until next time, but next year, that is. But I digress there. I was saying Joe Burrow is the closest thing you can get to a team relying solely on their quarterback and making it to the Super Bowl. I think this offseason, they have some work to do. They have to solidify that offensive line. There's no way in hell they can get back to the Super Bowl like this. This was not a fluke, but this was... you're not going to have Joe Burrow for much longer if he's going to get sacked 7 and 9 times in different Super Bowl playoff games. You need and as much as he can get out of things, you want him to be able to be comfortable. You want him to throw. It's just unfair, you know? So they need to solidify the offensive line, do what Kansas City did. They drafted an offensive lineman. They traded for Orlando Brown. They got a couple other pieces, and they solidified their offensive line for Patrick Mahomes, which should have been enough, honestly, for them to win. But Cincinnati just bested them, and Mahomes fell apart. I mean, one good thing you can say you have going, well, you have a lot going for you if you're Cincinnati. You made it to the Super Bowl in your first full year with your young quarterback. But Joe Burrow does not fold under pressure. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on him physically, but I mean mentally, he does not fold under pressure. He is there for the big moments. Him and that rookie kicker they got, Evan McPherson, that's a dynamic duo. And I'll say that I'm glad they drafted Jamar Chase with that first-round pick, but they definitely needed an offensive line. I'll say that defensive line held tight till the end of the game, and that was astounding to me. They need more corners, I guess. Eli Apple was letting Cooper Kupp get wide open. Maybe they need a better defensive scheme. Maybe the pieces are good. They just need a better defensive scheme, maybe better cornerbacks coach. But, I mean, hell of a run for Cincinnati. I'd predicted 31-20 for the Rams. So I lost a bet that was, I had the Rams going -4. That's okay. The Rams still won. Happy Matt Stafford won. Would have been happy either way, though, just because both teams deserved to be there. Earned the right to be there, I should say. Not deserved. But the biggest question now is, to me personally, which of these two teams is more likely to get back in the Super Bowl? Let's go. On the Rams side, they are in probably the toughest division in the NFL. Now, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, that division will be tougher. But you have San Francisco with, a wild card at Trey Lance. And now there's rumblings about Tom Brady unretiring and going to play in San Francisco. I don't buy that. I'll believe it when I see it. But right now they're all in with Trey Lance. They're going to be trading Jimmy Garoppolo. They have the Cardinals, which actually, we don't know what's going on with Kyler Murray. I think he just wants to get paid, man. Just pay the guy. Get him comfortable. Let him do his thing. You got your quarterback. You're not moving off of him. You're not going to trade him. Give him what he wants. Get him paid. Make him happy. You get DeAndre Hopkins back next year. You'll get James Conner and your guys back. You should be fine. Solidify his offensive line a little bit more too. And you should be fine there. And then you have Seattle, which actually we don't know what's going to happen there. So I say they're the hardest division, but now that I'm talking about it out loud, they probably went from the best division in the league this year to maybe not the best division in the league, maybe like middling there. Depending on what happens with Kyler Murray, maybe he doesn't want to play unless he gets paid. Depending on what happens with Seattle, maybe Russell Wilson leaves. I don't really see that happening, but there's rumblings there too. Depending on what we get with Trey Lance. Now, don't get me wrong, Kyle Shanahan is an amazing coach, and he will make things happen with Trey Lance. But you still have a rookie quarterback. Technically rookie. He played a couple games this year, but he doesn't have enough starts for him to not be a rookie, in my opinion, next year. So yeah, maybe the Rams have an easier way of getting back to the easier road to getting back to the Super Bowl, because the NFC is not looking great. The other teams that were in the playoffs this year, you have Tampa Bay, who doesn't have Tom Brady anymore, which that division is wide open. Matt Ryan and the Falcons could win that with a 7-9 season this year. 7-10. Yeah, 7-10 season. That'd be ridiculous. Then you have Dallas, who's always a flake show. They get their fans riled up every year just to bomb every year again. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but that's just the truth. I can't root for them just because they make you think they're good every year, and then they get in the playoffs and nothing happens. Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers stays there, is going to be probably the top seeded team in the NFC. It will be between them and the Rams, but we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to stay. I doubt he's retiring. That wouldn't make any sense. Make your money, man. Make $40+ million a year. There's no way you're walking away from that yet. He's still got it. He was MVP this year. I mean, how can you retire off that? You can retire on top of it. Like, what's an MVP with another Super Bowl? He wants to win another Super Bowl. He can win another Super Bowl. He just needs to... I think if he stays in Green Bay, it's his best chance of winning another Super Bowl. So, you got Green Bay, you got the Rams, and the rest is just, So, the Rams have a good chance of making it back to the Super Bowl. Now, on the other side, the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, I'm not saying it was a fluke that they made it to the Super Bowl, but Lamar Jackson was injured this year. They didn't make it. The Browns, with Baker Mayfield, did not perform up to par. I don't think Baker Mayfield is as bad as he played this year. I don't think he's as good as a lot of people thought he would be. But I think they can be a contender. They also did beat the Bengals this year once, so I think they have a chance of getting in their way, if you may. We also don't know what's going to happen with the Steelers. Maybe they somehow get their hands on Aaron Rodgers. And if they do, that'd be insane. And, I mean, they'd probably win that division. Maybe. They might get Jimmy Garoppolo. That'll keep them, around. It'll keep them contending, but nothing really too much to be scared about. Let's go over it. So then you have Kansas City. And you have Herbert and the Chargers, who are going to be in your way. You have Indianapolis and whatever they're going to do at quarterback. I don't see them bringing back Carson Wentz, unfortunately. But where are they going to go from there? I mean, they might run him back one more year, but I don't think you're going to get much out of that, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz. And then you have Tennessee's always in the way. And you have the Patriots with the young Mac Jones. Second-year Mac Jones, who might be getting better. Who might have a higher ceiling than we thought. And you have Josh Allen and the Bills. And then you have a revamped Tua with the Dolphins, maybe. Who else do we have that we're forgetting? We have, I guess then you have Denver and Vegas Raiders. Vegas could be really good with Josh McDaniels. We don't know how that's going to work out. But the point I'm getting at is there's a lot of obstacles in the way of the AFC. The AFC has about 10 teams that can make the 7-team playoffs. And that's going to be tough every year. I mean, we saw teams that should have made it this year that did not make it. I really think the Chargers should have made it. The Colts would have been fun to watch in the playoffs instead of the Steelers. It would have been more entertaining. I think the Chargers probably could have gotten the best of the Bengals if they made it. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Every year in the AFC is going to be tough. So, can the Bengals make it to another Super Bowl? That is a very tough question. And I think it's a much tougher road for Joe Burrow and the Bengals to make it to the playoffs than it is to make it to the Super Bowl than it is for Matt Stafford. Just because the NFC is a lot weaker with older quarterbacks versus the AFC with all its young guns. So, I mean, hopefully we see Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl again. I mean, it's tough to get past Mahomes every year. I think he just had an off year this year. He'll be back to full, maybe Mahomes stature next year. Maybe Josh Allen will make the Super Bowl next year. We don't know. But, I mean, I don't want to say they missed an opportunity here, but they proved themselves to be a contender moving forward. And it's definitely going to be a lot of fun watching the NFL next year. Besides the Falcons. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so do you think the Bengals have a chance to make another Super Bowl within the next couple of years? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This video went longer than I wanted it to, but there's a lot to talk about. Super Bowl is here, Super Bowl is over, and I do want to say I was going to be making a video about the NBA, but I wanted football season to end. And now that it's over, we're still going to be talking football. We can never not talk football. I do want to do a video about head coaching and what's been going on over there. I do want to make a video about Falcons in the offseason, obviously. I'm going to be making a video about the NBA trade deadline, which happened during the NFL Super Bowl week, which got so much more press than I thought because it's NFL Super Bowl week. But there were no narratives in the Super Bowl. Again, two good guys. And I do want to talk about the Hawks and what they did or didn't do during the NBA trade deadline and how they have not been playing up to par. So stay tuned. Those videos are going to be coming out sometime this week or next week. So football season's over. Congratulations to the Rams. Congratulations to the Bengals for making it this far. And we'll see y'all in the next one.